In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, to whom we all have to turn back. Honorable listeners and respectable audience, you know that we have started a series of linguistics. In linguistics, we have commenced the chapter that is known as translation studies. In translation studies, I told you about the definition of translation, word for word translation, sense for sense translation, and some other techniques, methods of translation. Listeners and audience, today I'm going to teach you faithfulness in translation. What is faithfulness in translation? What is the importance of faithfulness in translation? And what a translator has to do whenever we are talking about faithfulness in translation. Listeners and audience, be with me and listen to this lecture from beginning until end. Faithfulness in translation means whenever a translator is loyal to the original text, when he or she is loyal to the source text. It means that whenever a translator, he or she translates, converts, transmits the message from the source text to the target text, he should convey the same message as it is. There will be no addition, distortion, or something from his own opinion. The translator will convey the intended message of the original text. That is actually called faithfulness in translation. Listeners and audience, remember that it is very important in the faithfulness in translation that if the message of the source text is conveyed into the target's language by a literal translation, it's also fine. It will be also considered faithful translation. However, if the message is better conveyed in the sense per sense translation, then that would be also considered as a faithful translation, because sometimes we can't convey a message in literal translation, so then we are shifting to sense per sense translation. So, in this regard, when the translator knows that the message cannot beautifully conveyed whenever we are talking about in literal translation, then he must shift to sense per sense translation. Like, for example, we have one interesting example that is related to literal translation. For example, he is reading a book. This is the original text. This is the source text related to English language. Now, being a translator, I know that this message can be transmitted to other language, to another language, Urdu language, easily. And this will be faithfulness with this translation, like from source text into the target text, when I am translating it literally. Like, for example, he is reading a book. The Urdu translation would be literal translation, वो एक किताब पढ़ रहा है, or let's say वो किताब पढ़ रहा है. Now the intended meaning is conveyed from one language and to another, from the source text to the target. However, Sometimes proverbs, idiomatic expressions, metaphorical expressions, they cannot be literally conveyed. So that's why then we are shifting to sense per sense translation. Here, an idiomatic expression, if the translator does not shift to sense per sense translation, then the intended meaning, the original message, it will be distorted and the message will be not conveyed exactly, and the translator will not be considered as a faithful translator. Like for example, we have this sentence, he kicked the bucket. If here we are talking about the literal translation, I told you it will be not faithful. Why? It is idiomatic expression, and the Urdu meaning, the literal meaning would be उसने बाल्टी को लात मारी. Here, the writer, the translator, or the person who has said this sentence, who has written this sentence, he does not mean the meaning which I have written on the board. But he has said this, he has uttered this, it's an idiomatic expression. So whatever meaning he has intended, I have to convey the same. It means now I will shift to sense for sense translation, and that would be like उसने he kicked the bucket. The translation would be वो fourth हो गया, or in English he passed away. Now the question arises, what is necessary for a translator? So it is necessary for a translator that he should look at the text. If the meaning is conveyed easily, beautifully, with a natural flow and with a literal translation, then he or she should convey the same. But if it is not possible and there is no natural flow, then he should shift to and come to sense per sense translation. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about faithfulness in the Holy Quran as well. About the truthfulness. Like for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تَلْبِسُ الْحَقَّ بِالْبَاطِلِ. Do not mix the truth with falsehood. وَتَكْتُمُ الْحَقَّ. And do not conceal the truth. وَأَنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. When you know. So any translator who is knowing about, who is aware about the sense per sense translation, literal translation, and he is actually maxing the truth with falsehood, and he does not convey the intended message, whatever the writer has written, so then he will be like, for example, concealing the truth, and he will not convey the message of the writer, of the speaker, which statement he has uttered. So faithfulness is very important regarding the translation. Any type of text we are translating, that may be religious text, the text that may be related to education, that may be even any other literary and non-literary text. So hope that this topic is clear to you. Thank you.